Motion.
Okay. Mr. Bowen, yes, no more microphone?
No, it's working, thank you. I had to look at it. Yes, Councilman Paul.
Yes, sir. The second item on the list is the feral cat program.
Yes. I do not have a current report.
Okay.
And I know that the ladies that we've been working with are working very hard on it and making some progress, but I don't have specifics. I apologize.
Okay, no problem, no problem. I had talked to Bert, our meter person.
Right.
She goes out and distributes tickets to parking violations. Bert, she went to the seminar back in, I think it was March 28th in Worcester. She had told me she learned a lot more. Mr. Isaacs helped me on this. In the meantime, she had 7 feral cats that she trapped. 2 were behind the city building out here. She drives them up to Akron, and she made that trip 4 different times. In the meantime, she's bought more traps. One of the 7 cats she took up there, the one cat she was pregnant. And so they took care of that, and they brought them back, and all 7 cats are alive. She put them back in the community. They were all, TNR, I think. I forget how it goes. But anyhow, she has taken care of all that, and a lot of this is out of her own pocket. I talked to the city manager the other day. I'd like to somehow, if it be as we had Save Our Pool, something to come up with, some way to reimburse Bert and Mrs. Anderson. But also, she's told me that she's getting these cats spayed and neutered in Akron, and it's only $30. So for the 7 cats, and then I think it's the Jefferson County Humane Society is putting the bill for that. So she is getting reimbursed for that part of it, but it's her driving time and everything. And I think we need to do something because she's doing this as a volunteer. I'm willing with anybody on council if they're willing to help. Look into something. I know Spot Bar is going to take out. They're going to demolish the building next door, and I know there's a lot of feral cats in there. I told her if she wants, that's her next project, but I think it's going to be, in 2 weeks they're going to take that building down. I'd hate to see a cat, I'm not a person, I'm not a very mean person. I would like to see the cats taken out of the building before we do that, but I asked Bert to show up tonight, she's not here, so, yes, Frankie, yes, ma'am. Pardon me, she drove to Akron again today, there you go. So that's probably 90 miles, 180 miles both ways. Mr. Loretto?
I won't make it enemy, but not to care less. When you check on these feral cats, check the building next door to them. If they can't confectionery, there's all kinds of cats in there. The place smells, the place stinks. It's not really business. I've been through that before with them. Doesn't seem to get across, but it's a safety hazard. And we're going to have a D. Martin festivity. People are going to come down. And last year, there was a lot to be desired. So, and it's been a long battle with an individual. I don't know if we can win it or not.
You and I spoke about this Saturday, and yeah, I know. And I mean, you've had
I get
it
it
in
every
court,
week.
and
Yeah, I get complaints every week.
I don't know what to do. I mean,
Well, we'll send the health department in there, maybe I can do it.
we can do that next. Yeah.
You took those cats out of that house.
Did he?
You got them over there.
That's great.
Where that man in his house,
Yeah, you took them out of that.
he knows it's happening.
Yeah.
They feed the pigeons. The other pigeon in town.
Pigeons, that's another thing we need to get rid of. But that's the update on with Bert, Roberta, I forget Roberta's last name, but Roberta Maricino, yes, Roberta. She had talked to me this past week, and as I said, I think we need to figure out a way to, she bought 2 traps. And, I'm willing to donate whatever, but We can figure out something. And I know Bear's, your sister-in-law, is that who it is? Yes. Maybe she would be interested in this endeavor. But that's what I got, so far in an update with the feral cats.
With your approval, Councilman Paul, why don't we keep that on the agenda?
Okay, perfect.
Keep
Thank you.
updated.
Because we know that that issue's not gonna go away.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah.
Okay, we'll move along to item number 3 then. And that would be emergency preparedness plan.
Yeah, thank you, Councilman Paul. I would, at this time, ask our fire chief, Chief Capaldi, who is in attendance this evening, to give us an update on the very important topic of the emergency preparedness plan, updating that plan. Chief?
Okay. We did have our preliminary meeting, I believe it was at the end of March. We met with our consultant, myself, the health director. Were you at that meeting? Captain Walker was there. We gave our consultant the preliminary information. He collected a lot of our running orders, our current emergency plan, the county plan, because everything has to be tied together. We've since corresponded with him a few times. He requested some information from the health commissioner. Right now, they're compiling everything, looking over all the plans, and then we're very close to setting another meeting where they'll come back and give us the initial design and layout that they came up with. I got an email the other day that he might be requesting some more documents. So right now, we're just in the gathering stage of all the documents that we need to put this together. So it is ongoing. We're getting ready to schedule our second meeting, and like I said, we're all participating. So thank you.
Do you anticipate that the project is still on schedule for, I think we had a completion date at was it end of June?
I think it was the end of the second quarter, which was
Okay.
January, March, April, May, end of June. Yeah. So right around there.
Okay.
In his email the other day, he claimed that it was moving a little slowly because he's trying to go through all the documents and not miss anything. He wants to really study the documents. So I'm still saying we're on track for that.
Very good. Council, if there's any questions for me or Chief Capaldi, we'd be happy to answer them at this time.
I know it's a large endeavor, I know that. It's to get one of those ready, so you're right.
Run the documents.
Right.
That's why we try to do it once every 5 years.
Yes. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Chief.
Okay, next we have the citywide crime statistics and downtown traffic enforcement, and that would be Mr. Captain Walker.
Downtown traffic enforcement. Right. The parking enforcement lady, since March 3rd to this morning, she's written 182 citations in the downtown. Out of those 182, 112 of them for overtime parking and not having the proper parking permit for the parking lot that's directly behind the police station. The other 70 she wrote were for basically like crisscross parking, parking on the yellow line, parking by a fire hydrant, and other citations like that. So she's being very effective downtown. As anybody notices that the permit lot now is pretty much half empty now because she's enforcing the people with the parking permits. And when we get the corner lot down at 4th and Adams, get the numbers painted for the slots, we're going to have her start enforcing that, which is a paid lot, and she can start doing that as soon as we get all the slots numbered, because there's a lot of them that the numbers have worn off. And everybody has a copy of the crime statistics. These were done from the last time Chief McCafferty did it, which would have been March 3rd to today. And if you look at it, the calls for service are up for this year compared to the last 2 years. Murder's up 1 this year compared to last year, but it's down compared to 2013. The rapes are down, burglaries are down, robberies are down, thefts are down. Thefts from autos are down, and so are stolen vehicles. The actual shots fired calls are down. I mean, the shots fired calls are down, but the actual shots fired calls are up compared to last year. And the assaults are up from last year, but down from 2013, and we've had no arsons. Officer Cook and Canine Bono, for that time, for the last 2 weeks, they've made 7 traffic stops. Out of those 7 traffic stops, 5 were warnings, 2 were citations. They were involved in 1 vehicle pursuit, what ended up in the arrest of 2 people for possession of drugs and possession of marijuana. He also assisted the State Highway Patrol twice, and he assisted on another arrest, was a possessionary charge with needles and heroin. He's also assisted a turn on several calls, and on April 15th, he went to training up in Canton, trained with the Canton Police Department's K-9 Division and other canines from up in that area, and it's going to be a monthly thing that he's going to do. He goes up for 8 hours, and they train. They have a big training facility, and the guy that's in charge of the Canton K-9 unit is known nationally for training, so he goes up there. Going to start going once a month up there for training.
Great. Thank you, Captain Walker. I have one question, and it's, you may not know this answer. On the citations that Roberta Maricino, our traffic, has there any been a third-time offenders that we have had to tow the car away?
No, not as of yet.
Okay. Okay. I'm just going back to my lot that I want to work on too.
Right.
I'm just asking, that's all. Okay, thank you.
Yes, no problem.
Thank you very much, I appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
Chief, how many have been paid? Everybody been paid?
A lot of them have been paid. Yeah, I don't have the exact statistics how many's been paid, but usually when she issues them, the people come straight into the chief secretary and pay the $5.
I thought you were going to want to make sure that the great majority are being paid.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Walker. Okay, moving right along with number 5. Just up neighborhood strategic safety plan, Chris Petrozzi and you, Mr. Mullen. That's you, buddy.
Thank you, Councilman Paul. I would at this time ask our Urban Projects Manager, Chris Petrozzi, to give us an update on the strategic safety plan. I know, Chris, a bit of progress on streetlights and infrastructure.
Yes, a couple of items. First, streetlights. I believe I reported last week, the last meeting, that the fire department had completed, or was nearing completion of the review of all the streetlights on the hilltops. They looked at all the streetlights with the mapping that AEP gave us, and identified those which were not functioning properly. Once they were completed with that, we provided that information to AEP, and AEP immediately took corrective action and repaired all the lights. Just to AEP's credit, I'd like to thank them because they were provided with the information on Monday afternoon and were done by Wednesday morning. So it was a very quick action by AEP to repair the streetlights that were malfunctioning on the Maybell and Pleasant Homes. So they should all be functioning at this time. One other item with regard to this streetscape character study and right-of-way plan for the Maybell and Pleasant neighborhoods. We have the project startup meeting with the CT consultants, and they're probably going to work on that, and expect to have work completed within 6 months.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Chris. I would draw council's attention to the summary of the meeting of the Hilltop Neighborhoods Community Task Force That was held last week on April 23rd. First paragraph kind of reiterates what Chris already reported on, so I won't reread that. But obviously, yeah, we talk about street lights. It seems like a small thing, but when we have what was it, 12, Chris, that we're out of, that's pretty significant. And it just, as I think we've all talked about, there's so many variables and so many things that go into improving the quality of life. If we have streetlights that don't work, and I think that sends a message. And if we have streetlights that do work, I think that sends an opposite and much more positive message. So I too would like to thank the operation of AEP and the fire department for its efforts on that project. We will be giving updates to council. I would imagine, Chris, about a month or so on CT consultants.
Yes, we're in progress.
On both the Hilltop character program or plan, and also they're working on the Central Business District streetscape plan. The task force, its purpose was discussed. It was agreed that we should all work towards some type of report or initiative to be completed this year and presented to City Council hopefully at the end of 2015. I think at that meeting I might have mentioned the first meeting in December. Then it was suggested that the task force create subcommittees to address the major issues that need to be confronted at this time in the Hilltop neighborhoods. The subcommittees and the point persons assigned to hopefully guide those subcommittees are noted on that report. There were 5 subcommittees created. The Peer Community Benchmarking Subcommittee, Chris and I are going to work to help that committee move along. It will research and reach out to communities which have already successfully redeveloped their neighborhoods, determine what tools they use, what advice they may have for us, and hopefully we learn from their experience on what worked and what didn't work. Those neighborhoods that we identified were, and council and citizens, you may be familiar with some or all of these. The Over the Rhine district in Cincinnati, Ohio City in Cleveland, East Liberty in Pittsburgh, and the Martindale-Brightwood neighborhood in Indianapolis. I think each one of these neighborhoods represents a neighborhood or a district that quite frankly had deteriorated and had a number of blights and crime and drug and other issues, low-income areas. But these are examples of success stories. And I think that by benchmarking against these communities and reaching out to see what they were able to do, I think we're not going to reinvent the wheel, nor do we need to. So I'm hopeful that will be a very productive subcommittee. Other subcommittees include urban design and infrastructure repair, by Chris Petrozzi, youth outreach. Our superintendent, Melinda Young, and Parks Director Mary Beth Sills, I think are an excellent team to help us with youth outreach. Crime reduction, we looked at Captain Walker in that area. And then landlord-neighborhood relations, more specifically, we're working towards a unified tenant screening program, that subcommittee. Joe Lucchino, Mike Johnson, and our law director, Mr. Rapella. I've agreed to work together on that. So I think with these 5 groups, we have identified areas that we need to focus on. I anticipate that the subcommittees will meet in May, and then the full task force will meet again June 18th, 4:30 p.m. at McKinley School.
When is that date, sir?
June 18th, I believe that's a Thursday, Councilman, at 4:30 p.m. at McKinley School. We felt that it was, we really needed to start to move. We've had the meetings, we had them in the policing room, we have a lot of interest, we moved into council chambers. Now I think we need to kind of get out into those neighborhoods specifically and be available. One of the other things that the task force asked was that we, in the near future, meet with the media. Dave, I might be giving you a call. Maybe a couple members of the task force could meet with our local media and also explore the impact of social media, Facebook page, to heighten our awareness in the community. So I guess I'm very pleased to report this to council. I think the task force is making good progress, and I think we can see by those subcommittees that those are some pretty weighty topics, but if we pursue those effectively, I think they'll be great value for the hilltop neighborhoods. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
And the lights are out, all you gotta do is get a little step ladder, come up the step ladder, get the number, and call higher, and it'll be fixed within 24 hours. When the lights are on the hilltop, get the number, call in, 24, 48 hours, we'll be on.
I think that is a great suggestion, and again, we need to, we say a lot by having lights that aren't working, and we want to change.
They should be fixed.
We want to change that, yeah, absolutely.
That's true.
Thank you.
That's true, we are paying for
Right,
Yeah.
$225,000.
it. Tagged right on that, like you said. Okay,
Right there.
good point. Any other questions for Mr. Bowles on that? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Bowles. We'll move on to number 6, proactive neighborhood cleanup program. LA cleanup activities and gateway and major corridor cleanup initiative. CBDG project or property maintenance inspection. Mr. Petrozzi, Mr. Scott, Sean Scott, and Mr. Baird.
Thanks again for having us. Just continuing along with what we're already doing on the hilltop stuff. We're continuing the proactive neighborhood cleanup. Chris Petrozzi's office has filed the list again for you on page 18, I believe it's, page 17. You'll see, and actually, I just recognized today is 4/28. We actually began this program at 4/29 last year. So we continue to progress through. Accompanying along with this, I've also provided a map that gave to kind of highlight where we've been on the hilltop areas, which is the proactive neighborhood cleanup is targeted mostly as the hilltop areas that we've been on Pleasant Heights. We've covered, we've addressed about 148 properties, buildings, as far as building violations. There's been 66 weed violations and 86 litter violations. We've been in various stages of completion. Most of them have been completed either with the citation or just with our warning letter and been cleaned up. We are finding, however, that we are starting to have to backtrack to some of the areas we've already been through. I know, especially this time of year, we're going to see a lot of complaints being generated as far as like bulk pickup and people putting their items out a little bit too early and stuff like that. So we're trying to address some of that. Bob's crew's been doing a great job, at least getting the trash part, what I consider like more refuse or the more literally kind of stuff like food products, those kind of things. The bag stuff, the bulk stuff, will be hopefully everything will be picked up by the 17th, and then we'll be rolling. We're scheduled to do the 17th and the 10th, is that correct? No. Sorry, 9th and 16th will be those Saturdays for those particular hilltop areas. So that's going to make some progress there, we hope. This, on page 18, what Chris's office has also done, we've broken down into reports that you see that with the PNC, or the proactive neighborhood cleanup. On 18, the second set of numbers there is for the central downtown business district. And there with zoning plan bill to address 10 buildings as of today's date. And then we've addressed 6 litter complaints as of today's date. And that's been since the beginning of December. Again, we continue to basically try to go down to downtown business at least once a week, one whole week during a month, to try to focus in on those areas. And then on page 19, the other area we're trying to focus on, we have a committee that's primarily dealing with what we call the gateways and the major corridors. For instance, the areas where you come in and out of the city, major thoroughfares like Market Street, 4th Street, those kind of areas that you're coming through, Sunset Boulevard, and trying to deal with those on a kind of a weekly basis as well. Zoning planning at least once a week on a Monday is hitting those particular areas. We've also been in contact with the community service crews, again with Mr. Littlejohn. He's meeting with us regularly, so we have input from community service, what their resources are and can do. Just to kind of reiterate, with community service, it's basically limited to the amount of people that will show up on a particular day. We have about 4 or 5 supervisors that are assigned to different tasks. So as people come from the community service program into the courts, they all take different crews out, either cutting grass or cleaning up. And so some of the areas that they're particularly going to be focusing in on are some of those major corridors. For instance, you notice on Barfield School, at the city's entrance, they always cut that hillside for the most part. We're trying to deal with that the same area around Washington Street, when you come right across from the jail. They'll probably be involved in that. And then just any other general areas that we're coming through. Lincoln Avenue particularly is one of those areas we want to try to keep a jump on. That entrance there coming through 4th Street by the railroad tracks and stuff. They're going to be getting their first official list on this Friday. And then basically I'll be providing the list every weekly on every Friday to let them know what we need to be taken care of. We've also divided the city up into downtown and Hilltop district into basically 10 different districts in the central business district. And so what we're trying to do is basically say, if you've expired your list and there's more to do, focus in on zone 1 and zone 2, whatever you can see that needs to be beautified, just go at it, and then we can we'll deal with how we got lien properties or whatever after that. But basically just keep your eye open. If you see grass going around a telephone pole, just cut it down. Just try to inspire some of that kind of stuff. So that's where we're at. We just continue to plow through. I'd love to tell you I'm working my way out of a job, but so far not. So we'll see where we're at in 5 years from now.
You do a good job.
That's something else for you to do. Sean will keep your...
In addition, I've just been working with the utility commission, the utilities and water stuff, helping them with if there's water problems, things like that. They shut down, get people water turned off, or make sure there's no jumpers, just kind of things. So my office is helping me, so that could. Any questions?
How many supervisors do you have?
How many supervisors does community service have?
I always get this grease to no supervisor. That's one thing I'm at.
Community service currently has 5 supervisors assigned to it, based on the
People
line.
outside who work. That's what they're saying.
Yeah, there are 5 supervisors that basically do this. They maintain the buildings, so they have a crew that does that. They maintain the cutting. They take crews out and they're walking the streets and the alleys. So depending on how much, I'd say anywhere from 2 to 3 supervisors daily. Again, that's all dependent on financial ability, how much they can afford to in order to kind of spread that money out. They don't really put 5 on every day, they put 2 or 3 a day, try to spread that out. We should have at least one good grass cutting crew every week, hopefully 2. The amount of people we have, we try to deal with that.
I'm getting that.
But again, the biggest problem we have is it just depends on how many people will show up. Like if I assign you to community service as a judge and you don't come that day, then basically we just have a supervisor who's not supervising anybody. And to their credit, they go out and actually do the cutting. So they've been, some of what happened last year was basically on the backs of the people that were supervising. Maybe 1 or 2 guys helped them. So they did an incredible job with their work with them.
Thank you.
Well, yes, sir.
Sean, Nice and Franklin, I haven't checked up where.
Oh, all the cars were removed. The only thing we had left there was a truck, which is in the zone where it could be parked. And I have to work on trying to get rid of the boat that's separated. But all the other junk cars are removed from there. There was an additional owner, Mr. Montgomery, had a car removed as well. So that's what sort of been done.
What's the deal with the boat?
The boat, so I believe the boat,
Do we know the loan, did I mean?
it's owned by Mr. Mayo as well, so we have to see about what the regulations are as far as when the boat can do. But I believe it's in April 1st through November 1st. I can't have a boat on the property, so we can get some. Correct.
That probably is in violation.
Right.
Yes, correct. You are during the summer months, and I believe the dates are correct, Mr. Scott. During the summer months, you can have a boat parked on your property under certain circumstances. However, during the winter months, it must be removed or placed in a different location out of sight of the property.
Because isn't it the opposite? In the winter months, you can have it on your property, right?
No, in the summer months, you can have it parked in your driveway. In the summer months. In the winter months, it has to be placed like in the rear yard or from the side yard back.
Or in storage.
Or storage somewhere.
Hopefully it's storage.
Yeah.
I will review the ordinance, find out for sure, take the appropriate measures. A little confused myself.
Yeah, because I got, I got a lot of calls on that.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. We're also addressing another one in case you get a call on it, 7th and Slack, 650 Slackers, about 4 or 5 cars that someone's been putting up there. We just found the owner today. And probably just trying to do repairs, so we have those to be out there.
Where at, John?
7th Slack, right?
Seven.
Got the corner to the
Old Tim.
barbershop. So, yeah, right behind everything. Thanks, folks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sean.
Thanks, Todd.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Where are we at there, Mr. Board?
We're on to number 7.
When you talk to Mr. Fair
Now, we can move into number 7.
Okay, we'll move to number 7. Okay.
And I appreciate Bob being here this evening. If he can give us a little summary on the current community cleanups. Also, there is a JV Green Team bulk collection proposal that is due, I believe in May, that hopefully Bob can give us an update on. Modernization of our operations, and just lots of that, and where we need to go in general, and street sweeping equipment, remind us of what the schedule is for the repaired equipment and the new equipment and when that can be in service. And then I might suggest, and council can, as a whole, can talk about it, I think as we move into some more detail on these items, Councilman Paul, I might start to have this item gravitate more toward service committee. I think free up some time with, I think we had it under safety and health, but for sanitation, but we're probably at the point where if we kick it to the service committee, that might be a good way to approach this.
Okay.
With your blessing. Bob, if you could kind of pick up on those items, I'd appreciate it.
Sure. We are halfway through bulk collections for this year. Three completed so far. 3 more to go. The next one is this coming Saturday, which will be the south side of Sunset Boulevard from the western Port Limit into Fossil Manor. And as Sean mentioned, then we, Pleasant Heights, and then we conclude on Lake Bell. Approximately 130 tons collected so far in those collections on those 3 days. And that's over and above, or in addition to the approximately 150 tons each week that we do. So that's about on par. It's about average from what we've seen in years past as far as volumes and tonnages. So far, it's been going going well and going pretty much as usual. Future events, that's all we have scheduled at the moment as far as the remainder of this year and the future. As Tim mentioned, there is a proposal. Future events are still undetermined. As far as an additional, it depends on what kind of cooperation would come from the Waste Authority. As far as if there would be an additional collection with some assistance and offsetting fees, or the possibility of just having a different style where we could maybe have a
Like e-bucket or
that and some roll-offs available where, you know, we would be able to handle some bulk waste, but it would be kind of different. But that, we'll come back to you as those details become a little clearer after that process plays out. Street sweeping equipment is moving along according to schedule. As was mentioned in previous meetings, we have new equipment is still several months away, very long lead times on that once things are authorized. One of our machines has been in the shop for a while. It's moving along on track. We're getting there. We've probably a couple more weeks. We hope to have that back in service as soon as everything, all the repairs and refurbishing is completed on that machine.
Where does it go? Where do you bring that from? That half machine, where do you?
That machine is at a company called Doheny Supplies up in Twinsburg. They are the vendor or supplier or servicer for that particular equipment. They are also the people who handle all the state term schedule stuff for municipal equipment of that make. So as you may be aware, you know, with certain equipment, there's territories and distributor networks, and it's pretty well, you know, you pretty much go where you have to go on certain things. But they are the people that handle that equipment in our part of the world for our territory. Modernization planning, as Tim said, that's going to be an ongoing conversation. Get some input from the city manager and council. There's a lot that goes into that. There's changes that would be implemented that we would have to come, some discussion to advise and inform council. It will include some legislation changes, things in our ordinances as far as how the practice is done, how the process is done, what's required of our citizens. It's going to require equipment changes in purchases. It's going to require changes to our policies and procedures, our operations. So it's a large issue with lots of moving parts, lots of components to it, and it's a conversation that will be ongoing and you know, kind of rolled out as each component, as each, you know, as time rolls along, we'll have to address each area and get to it. It's a longer time frame process. I'm going to put a timeline and an outline together for the city manager, and share that with him, and then we can start to implement each component along the path. So we'll kick that off, but that's going to play out and develop over time. I think that's it, unless I missed anything on the list. If there's any questions, I'll have to answer or explain further.
Any questions for Mr. Mayor?
And just about the street sweeping.
Yes. As far as the only, I'm sorry, Ken, I'm glad you brought it up. As I had mentioned in the past, it still holds true. I know we're getting close. We're kind of in the backside of the repair time frame. I still don't have a firm delivery date on when that machine will be back in service. And as soon as I can see when that thing's here and on the road and we're able to put it back on the road, then as we had discussed before, we'll be able to come with a sweeping schedule and be able to discuss that and announce that publicly. We're a little closer than we were last time we talked about it, but we're still not there yet. I can't say that it'll be there because I don't yet know when that machine will be back.
Bob, you need a special license to drive that machine?
It requires only what our employees have now, which is a Class B CDL. It does require specialized training in the operation of the machine, but as far as state law or, driver's license wise, it just requires a Class B commercial driver's license.
But we'll never let the city manager.
If he qualifies and passes the training and gets a Class B CDL, you're welcome.
Yeah. Thank you, Bob.
Thank you. Okay. Any questions for Mr. Baird or Mr. Bowles? Nothing? Okay. All right, moving right along to Cops Grant. Captain Walker.
As of yesterday and today, the COPS grant hasn't opened up yet. They still have a tentative date. Well, there's really no date. They're just saying in mid-May, they'll put out the specifics, what you need to do, what qualifications you have to do and everything else, and start the process. So we don't know when the deadline is or anything else. From talking before and everybody else, the only thing we'll probably need from the city to move forward once it opens up is the commitment for the 4th year on the grant. And like I said, it has to be in writing and submitted with the grant proposal. And then after that, I guess the table organization will have to be changed for if we get 2 officers with the grant. But as of now, we're waiting. This says mid-May, it will open up. There's no set date yet.
So hopefully we know something by next month at this time.
Yes.
Okay, good. All right, thank you.
I think Councilman Paul, just a quick comment. Looking at the COPS grant, remember obviously it's very important what the source of funding is. Not only, what we apply, when we apply for it, but maintaining that grant for 4 years. I think that, as we talked about, and it's a concern that the safety fund, if we do utilize the safety fund and nothing else, that fund will pretty much cease to exist after 2019, correct. And I wanted to just touch upon, we really haven't talked on it too much, and I hope perhaps we do next month at Finance. But when we were talking about the wage tax levy and additional funding sources, revenue sources, certainly the intent of that would be to increase officers. That's what this is. That's what this is all about. Obviously to funds for fire protection as well. Again, over 60% of our general fund is comprised of the police department and the fire department operations. And in my opinion, whatever we say, there are a lot of other issues, and I understand that. I just any community or any that has 60% of its general fund is police and fire, over that is not a sound structure, and that is why the wage tax levy was discussed in the first place. So I did want to make that point. Also, I know Councilman DiLoretto, you asked me a number of times about the percentage of police and fire, or the percentage of personnel costs that are currently a part of general fund. And that percentage provided by our finance department is 78.16%.
It's a lot higher than it was last time. That's about right. Is it 75%?
There's a lot of, I guess there's a lot of variables, a lot of things go into that.
All your fringes.
Oh, sure, yeah. But as an overall percentage,
That gives it 23% to the city.
towards other expenses, yes.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you.
That's where we're at. So that, Councilman Paul, I just wanted to revisit some of those points regarding the COPS grant. We need more police officers, so I think we need to pursue, however we're going to come up with a plan to do that. And I think that the COPS grant gives us the best opportunity to do that. How we do it, though, is going to have an impact on our budget. And I'm hopeful that it sounds like the time frames that Captain Walker has mentioned, that we would probably be coming next month to safety for a resolution. Joel, do you think to apply?
Yeah, it all, like I said, it all depends upon when they actually open it up, what criteria they set, and what deadline we have to have it turned in by.
Right. As I recall, it's a pretty short window.
Yeah.
That they provide to come up. But I just would report to the safety committee that we are prepared to do it and move forward and provide you with the structures to support that request in about a month or so. I'd be happy to answer any questions, and I know Captain Walker as well.
And that's a big decision. It's something we're going to have to think about financially, and it's.
Right. And it's one of the two areas that we are struggling with overtime. We almost have, with the additional patrols in certain areas of the community, we've almost kind of institutionalized overtime, and that's never, it's never a good thing. On a temporary basis, sure.
Right.
But I believe that we need to move forward towards, what that tells me is that we don't have the resources, patrolmen, to actually do what needs to be done out there. And this is one solution.
I understand. Hey, have any questions for Captain Walker or Mr. Bowen? Okay. All right, where we at? Number 9. Right, reporting prostitution and follow up from 12715.
Thank you, Councilman Paul. As council will recall, we had a safety and health committee meeting on January 27th of this year. During that public meeting, committee at some point in the meeting departed from the agenda, and which happens now and then, and a lengthy discussion ensued regarding the problem of prostitution in the community. The administration obviously reflected on that, and as council is also aware, the police department has conducted extensive patrols and checks of areas of concern. Not to get into too many details, but we've certainly been out on North Street and the downtown area in general. And throughout the beginning of this year, I was sharing with council almost on a daily basis those what were termed vice reports about those patrols and about that effort. And I think as council will recall, and I'm very pleased to state that the level of vice activity and prostitution was determined to be significantly lower than anticipated, and has remained lower over the past 3 months. This having been said, the police department will continue its patrols accordingly. I think the time of year is changing, and we are not going to let up on our efforts. During that meeting on January 27th, as council will recall, an allegation was made by Councilman Bill Magna. that one of our policemen on duty failed to act when the councilman was solicited. As a result of that meeting and that allegation, I did direct Chief McCafferty to conduct an investigation into this incident and determine if there was a dereliction of duty on the part of our officer. And related, dereliction of duty on the part of this officer related to this alleged incident. This investigation was carried out by Captain Walker. I've subsequently received a report of this investigation, and accordingly, the conclusion of this investigation is that the allegation by Councilman Villagna that a member of the police department did not act or was derelict in his duty is unfounded. As a result, I would request that council adjourn into executive session after our regular council meeting this evening for personnel matters regarding the allegations against a public employee. That's all I have to report, Councilman Paul.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yeah, the allegation of dereliction of duty, first off, I don't remember saying that he was derelict in duty. And I was a policeman for over 25 years here. And I did not agree with the way that he did what he did. But dereliction of duty never came out of my mouth. Now, as a result of this, prostitution is still going on. On North Street, I will say this, I check it on a daily basis. I was laid up for about 3-4 weeks, and I couldn't go down there and patrol the way I did because I was a little bit in fear of my safety due to my physical condition. And why I was in fear of my safety was I was approached by a prostitute, 3 of them at the same time, and told, the cops told me who you are, you're a councilman. And some profanity was exchanged towards me. And I figured it's best with, after I had my surgery and stuff, that I stay off of North Street because I don't want a confrontation and have to get out of the truck and end up getting hurt myself worse. There's more patrol. Now, if the police department put as much effort in this prostitution and other crime as they did as investigating what I said at a council meeting, I think we'd all be a lot better off. But at no time did I say that anybody was derelict of duty. I never used that word. I didn't agree with how it was done. And there's people in this audience right here that can tell you about the prostitution in front of Quinn AME Church, Quinn Church, on Sundays even. But I will say this, when I came down today, the police cars were there, there's 2 cop cars up there when I come through there, and almost every time that I go down there, I have seen a car patrol through there now. And also, I think it has slowed down. Of course, Jack Frost is the best policeman in the world, and winter is, winter's a big time. So I hope we can report these same situations, in a few more weeks here when the weather starts breaking and they get to walking around up there. But a couple things entered my mind was, I don't know, we have a female officer, we have female dispatchers. They were used before up there in sting operations to try to get people. We never had a female police officer, which I'm glad we do. I think it's appropriate, and I think we could use her up there. And my curiosity is, I just wonder if this would be tolerated by Holy Family Church, by Holy Rosary Church, or by any churches, Starkville Church out in my neighborhood. If it would be, tolerated in those neighborhoods where those churches are at. That's my only question. But I just want to clear, because I know where this is going. Bobville Magnet did not say dereliction of duty, so that's the end of that story. Thank you very much.
Mr. DiLoretto?
Came on the same note, the housing authority, we have found people living in certain houses that shouldn't be there, and they are being cleared out, and some of them are prostitutes. I'm not going to tell you where they've occurred at. The place has been locked, it will continue to be locked, it will continue to be surveilled by myself, the new Section 8 director, because I am going to be on them like a pit bull. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman.
Mr. DiLoretto, if I could ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Without giving the exact address, that's in the close proximity of North Street.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Wait.
Okay. Anything else? Other than that, we're
Nothing to report.
concluded. Are you going to, you still want the executive?
I do.
Okay,
If council will grant that request, I'd appreciate it.
okay.
Oh, yeah.
What's our time frame?
Got 25 minutes.
25 minutes.
I got time to do the rest of it.
Mike?
Okay.
No problem.
You need
No
a
problem.
motion and a second to adjourn your.
Okay, there was one thing, I showed something to Mr. Boland about, right here, I don't know if this is, I think it's the Ohio Budget Clears House Committee. This has to go through the Senate after, is that correct, or?
I mentioned it, read through it.
Yeah, I'll let you read through this, but it looks like there might be money for us for safety items down the road.
Yeah, I think it's a good sign that it cleared the House committee, and it probably has a little bit longer to go, a couple more,
Yeah.
couple more hurdles, but it's important.
Okay, good. All right, let me know what goes on. And maybe, one other thing, I know it's not on our agenda. How is our plan going with the city building, the
Feasibility study.
feasibility study? Thank you very much.
No, I'm happy to update, well, I am happy, but I probably got to turn to Chris. I think, Chris, we're kind of in the final draft report stage, and committee, or our internal committee needs to meet on it and discuss it, and then bring it to the safety committee. Is that
Yes.
where we're at right now?
Yes, that's here. We do have a final draft. It is when I say final draft version of the report. It has been distributed for review by the committee. The committee will very soon meet, review that draft report, and have bring it back for an update.
Okay,
Thank you. Hopefully, it's for the next committee.
okay, good, good. We'll do that next month about the same time. Okay, great, great, because that way Captain Walker will have the information on the cops grant.
Right.
Good, okay, all right. Anything else? Ange? I make a motion, we adjourn this meeting.
Okay.
We have about 20 minutes before